Hey John, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I am tired.
Always. We seem to complain about that most nights. Sorry about that, everyone. Uh,
Uh,
it's all
it's all
good.
good.
Maybe we need to start like recording these in the morning. Make it 5. Sorry. Anyway,
I don't know if I like that any better.
no, no, no good. No good.
Same effect, I think.
No good. Yeah, exactly. So, but hey, spring is coming. Spring is about to spring in at least in the northern hemisphere, in the territory of Oregon.
It was a nice day today.
It was
I
a nice day
almost didn't
today.
need a jacket.
Almost is a key word in that sentence, but
Yeah.
yes,
It's getting
yeah,
nice. It's getting nice
yeah.
out.
So, I got into my bees this weekend,
And
and they're like booming, all 4 colonies. So
nice.
the
So the one
the
you saved and the 3 new ones.
exactly. And the
Got it.
one, the survivor, survivor of John, uh, uh, that I gave a frame of brood to when I got the nukes, is like just going. It's not quite as strong as the others, but it's very clear it's going to pop soon. Like it was wall to wall eggs and brood. So it has enough eggs or bees to keep the brood warm. I was feeding all of them, both honey and pollen patties.
Nice.
I put second deeps on top of all the three nukes because they were looking really good. I'm excited. I'm gonna go camping this next weekend, which means that I'm not gonna get to
Okay.
like get into there and see how they're doing. So I'm a little, I'm actually a little sad about that. I really like this time of year because I get to like, I get to go into them every week and say, "How you doing? What you doing?" So I spent a bunch of time on Sunday, I think it was, building some bee equipment, which was cool. So we'll see if I get to use it this year. I made new Snellgrove boards, which are kind of the
Let's
things that I used last year to kind of help make new queen cells.
Is that the
But
one where you like put it in between to split hive to try to make?
sort of, it has all the doors and but I'm my experiment this year. Every year I have to experiment with something. This year I'm going to try grafting. I don't know if I've said that. I don't think I've told you that yet.
I don't know what a
But
grafting means. I mean, I know it means if you were talking plants. I don't know what it means if you're talking bees. And what I know of how you do it with plants, I don't know how they work with bees.
Well, I mean, it's sort of the thing. You take something from one place and put it into another. But so last year, I experimented with having the bees make emergency cells. Basically, I put brood up over that Snellgrove board, which is like a double screen board so that the bees can't touch each other and pass pheromone. And so the bees up above the Snellgrove board think that they are queenless and they'll try and raise a queen, which is
Right.
which is what I wanted them to do. So that's how I made all my queens last year, and it worked. It worked good. But this year I'm going to experiment. So it's a thing called grafting, and you have a special frame that you can put in the colony called a grafting frame, and on it has 2 or 3 rows of little cups that you take a little tool. So you basically, what I will do is I will find a frame of eggs and larvae from one of the hives, that whichever one I think is doing the best, the queen that I want to propagate, and I will brush all the bees off of it, take it someplace, keep it warm, and with a hot towel or a wet towel to kind of keep the humidity up. And there's a little tool, and you look at the cells, and you try and find larvae that have hatched in the last 12 hours, and you use this little grafting tool to like pick the larvae up and put them in these little cups, and then so put 15 larvae or maybe 30 larvae if there's 2 rows in these cups, and then put those grafting frames in the center of a box that's full to bursting with nurse bees and queenless, and they will see those cells hanging vertically and draw queen cells out of them. So basically, where like all last summer I made like 6 or 8 queens, you can make up to like 15 or 30 in one fell swoop this way. I don't know what it, like if 30 queens took, I don't even know what I would do with that. That's not going to happen because all the YouTube videos that I've watched, and yes, I've watched a lot of them, say that this is really hard to do and hard to get right. But I don't need 30. But I'm going to experiment. So that's my next experiment in another couple weeks.
Okay.
I will graft larvae into little queen cups, let them draw them out, see if that works.
I'm rooting for you, Dr. Frankenstein.
Right? It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I ordered them off of Amazon a couple weeks ago, and they're sitting out with the rest of my bee equipment. And I'll have to send you a link, or maybe I'll put something in the show notes here for a photo.
I already get enough bee stuff showing up in my random social feeds just from just these conversations.
Because you happen to like a photo or something like that had a bee in it.
I have fallen down. There is a lady on TikTok, which I don't do TikTok a lot. Occasionally my daughter will send me something to look at, and I'll look at it, and then I'll flash through a couple other things, and there's invariable this bee lady, and she just gets bees from places, no bee suit, no nothing, just walks up, puts bees places, finds the queen, puts it in another boxes, and then you just watch these bees march out of, the irrigation ditch into this box, this cardboard box where she has moved the queen in a hair clip. She just one of those hair clips.
Yeah.
She just puts the queen in a hair clip, sticks it in the box.
I don't know if she's actually using a hair clip, but a queen cage looks very much like a hair clip.
It looked like a hair clip. I have daughters. It looked like a hair clip to me.
Well, I have.
Anyways,
I have several of those queen cages. But yes, sorry, man. It's cool. I'll get you into beekeeping here someday.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe. I need chickens first. I want chickens.
Oh, you totally need chickens. Chickens are
I
awesome.
need chickens first.
All right. Tell me about your weekend.
My weekend was another road trip. So daughter number 1 graduated from college. Yay.
Congratulations. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. And we got to go to the university has like they have the whole university graduation where you all go pile into the, the basketball arena. And then they have, each college has their own. And she graduated from the animation department, which is the the College of the Fine Arts, And so each of the colleges, there was like photography, animation, art, and art education. And they had, students come and speak, and they gave 5 minutes, but they had a slideshow for each of them. And they showed off their cool art and stuff. So it wasn't like you sat and listened to somebody and had to watch somebody for 5 to 7 minutes, I think 5 to 10 minutes each. They told a story. It was fabulous. We got to see,
AKA a non-science graduation.
Yes, it was awesome. And my boy who's getting into photography, which is, we'll get to my something fun.
Okay.
Is photography. There's one that's photography related. Anyway, he was like, had his camera, and he was like, this is so cool, because they were showing, the photography person was talking about their graduating photography and what they did, and they showed pictures from various of their classmates as to different styles of photography, and some was very artsy, and some was like, sports photography, taking pictures of the basketball game. And it was the most enjoyable graduation ceremony. I haven't gone to tons, but I like head and shoulders above the most enjoyable one I've been to. Not that the others were bad, but it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
That's very cool.
Anyways.
That's very cool.
And then we packed up her car, and 800 miles later, we're all back at home. The end. Did I say I was tired?
Yet another drive.
Yet another all-day drive. But I had my podcasts, and I listened to podcasts all day. It was fabulous.
You'd be okay with a self-driving car just so long as it could make that one trip.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Because I foresee another, daughter number 2 is going to school there. The boy is 2 years away, will likely go to school in the same vicinity. So, yeah.
You have years to come.
Yes.
Years to come before you no longer drive that loop.
Yep.
It's all good. It's all good.
So it's great to have daughter number 1 home. In 2 weeks, I'm going to pick up daughter number 2. So there'll be another 800-mile drive.
And then you'll have everyone back home for at least a while.
Yeah. And my boy and I will be back to being sad. We've been kind of enjoying having the boys outnumber the girls in the house for the last year. Ever. First time ever. No.
Exactly.
So, anywho.
That's funny. All right, man. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you drive safe. How about, I didn't throw anything in follow-up this week. I don't know, there might have been a couple things that could qualify, but did you bring a topic? What'd you bring?
Yeah, so funny enough, I saw this while we were recording last week. And so I think while you were talking during one of your topics, I quickly made the notes and just dropped this in there so I wouldn't forget it. And this one is, and I love the kind of intro to this. This is a bug in the latest Java code.
Uh-huh.
And it was the play at the beginning of the blog post we'll post. It's makes a Doctor Who, the BBC sci-fi show, reference about psychic signatures in Java. Well, because Doctor Who had the psychic paper, you could show it to anybody and it would show that person whatever you need. Anyways, if you know Doctor Who, you got that. So the issue with the most recent release of Java is it would do ECDSA signatures, right? And it's done that for years. What happened in Java 15 was Oracle decided to rewrite the ECDSA implementation from native C++ code into Java code. And in the process of rewriting, essentially, the code from C++, which worked fine for years, to Java, they made a few bugs. They had a couple bugs, a few oopses.
Sorry. I'm a developer who's been around long enough to know that, you don't just rewrite code for reasons. Like every 15-year-old, 10-year-old, 5-year-old function that's gone through a lot of field testing and running, been exercised, will have ugliness introduced to it. And oftentimes it is in the form of, / some bug number with a fix next to it. And that code is very valuable. It's like wine. It gets better with age.
That's right.
Okay, maybe not all code. But yeah, okay. So this just smells to me like, they didn't have anybody around that still understood the C++ and we're like, let's just port all this so we don't have to have the language interop. Anyway.
So the ECDSA signature basically consists of two values, and I'm kind of paraphrasing from the article here, right? There's an R and an S, and if you want to verify the equation involving your two values, your R and S, you need the signer's public key and a hash of the message. And then through math, you take and validate that, yes, this is a valid signature. Well, one of the things is the values R and S can't be 0 because you take the value of R and S and multiply it by a bunch of other stuff. And if you multiply 0 times any other amount of stuff,
Probably going to come up with 0.
you're going to get 0. So the bug was, if your RNS values, if you force those to both be 0 and not non-zero, then Java would accept any message, anything as a valid signature for any message in any public key. So the joke in the article is it was the equivalent of the psychic paper in Doctor Who. So that begs the question, well, why did they find it now? And as I have previously mentioned, it was a rewrite. So they rewrote the Java code. They took that original C++ implementation, which didn't have the bug in it, and introduced
it had the value check.
Correct. It checked to make sure that those values
so
were 0.
clearly it wasn't a line by line,
No.
careful port.
Anyways, this was the thing that caught my eye this week. So in the interim, Oracle has released fixes and patches, critical updates for this bug. I thought it was entertaining that, where's the line? Hold on, there was a funny line in here too. He said, the researcher said, Oracle have given this a CVSS score of 7.5, assigning no impact to confidentiality or availability. Internally, we at ForgeRock graded this a perfect 10 due to the wide range of impacts on different functionality in an access management context. So there you go. I enjoy the perfect 10.
7.5.
Anyways, it's been fixed. If you have versions of Java that are vulnerable, make sure you patch and update and fix it.
Super bad.
Otherwise, any DSA signature will be valid if an attacker chooses.
Super bad. Well, you didn't read the best quote I thought you pulled out, which was, although I'm sure this rewrite has benefits in terms of memory safety and maintainability, it appears that experienced cryptographic engineers have not been involved in the implementation.
Yes, that's right. That's what I saw.
Patch your Java. Patch your Java.
Yep. All right, there you go. That's my contribution tonight.
All right. Well, I brought 2 articles. The first article is about a large distributed denial of service attack. So this is a Cloudflare blog that we'll put in here. They didn't actually say who the target was, but they said it was a Cloudflare customer on the professional plan operating a crypto launchpad. So, but this article says, so earlier this month, Cloudflare systems automatically detected and mitigated a 15.3 million request per second DDoS attack.
Ouch.
Which they said was one of the largest HTTPS DDoS attacks on record. And they said, I don't know they didn't say what the largest one was, but they did say that this is the largest that they've seen over HTTPS. They've seen higher on HTTP, but doing the TLS is a little more expensive in terms of computational resources required. So let's see. Other little bits about this. I thought there were a couple of things I liked. I thought that this made this interesting to pull up. Attack only lasted 15 seconds, and This is the bit that I like really kind of made me go, It says, what's interesting is that the attack mostly came from data centers. We're seeing a big move from residential network internet service providers to cloud compute ISPs, which I thought was interesting. I don't know, maybe are the consumer or residential ISPs getting a little bit better at blocking some of that anomalous IoT traffic,
right?
At the edge.
Toaster botnet.
My kids still occasionally bring up the hot tub that got hacked that we talked about a couple of years ago.
Oh,
I think
could be your grill, John.
Well, hypothetically. But except that it can't because it never stays on Wi-Fi, and I don't know why. So you shouldn't buy the first version. I got also excited because I was going to go get a grill, And I'm like, oh yeah, get the Wi-Fi one. And that was before Traeger even had Wi-Fi grills. It was, and I didn't get a Traeger. I got a Green Mountain grill, but it's not reliable. It is not. But it does smoke the meat good. So that's really what matters. All right. What else was that? Oh, so in the same area, my notes at least, came from more than 112. Well, didn't say more. It says it originated from 112 countries around the world, and that almost 15% of the attack came from Indonesia, followed by Russia, Brazil, India, Colombia, and the U.S. So a lot of cloud let's say overseas cloud providers. Size is interesting. HTTPS is interesting. The cloud providers is interesting. And then the last kind of interesting little bit about this article is they gave a little more info, and they actually linked to a detailed blog on how they perform their mitigation, or at least a little bit more about it, which it looks like anomaly detection, basically. So it says that, traffic's routed through the internet via BGP Anycast to the nearest Cloudflare data center. Then they've got data centers in over 250 cities around the world, they say. And that once the traffic reaches the data center, it's sampled asynchronously for out-of-path analysis, and then it says the analysis is done using data streaming algorithms. HTTP request samples are compared to conditional fingerprints, and multiple real-time signatures are created based on dynamic masking of various request fields and metadata. Each time another request matches one of the signatures, a counter is increased, and when the activation threshold is reached for a given signature, a mitigation rule is compiled and pushed in line. The mitigation rule includes the real-time signature and the mitigation action, for example, block. So the cool thing to me about this is performing inline anomaly detection, seeing the traffic, triggering the rule, the dynamic heuristic, presumably, and then, autonomously building and pushing a mitigation in less than 15 seconds is cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's impressive.
You gotta trust your signature compiler. All right. My second article, and I'm not a network guy, but whatever. My second article was a Krebs on security. So this is the one that I thought maybe could or should be follow-up, but this is about leaked Lapsus chats show that Lapsus also stole T-Mobile source code in the week before they were arrested. And so this was a pretty long article. And Krebs, I forgot if I said it a minute ago, this was a Krebs on security article. But so Krebs has, I like the way he writes, in general. Mm-hmm. And he has some color in his analysis.
This article. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty clear. Mr. White is not a particularly pleasant person in this. But anyway, so this is. Let's see, the quote at the top is that Krebs on Security recently reviewed a copy of the private chat messages between members of the Lapsus cybercrime group in the week leading up to the arrest of its most active members last month. The logs show Lapsus breached T-Mobile multiple times in March, stealing source code for a range of company projects. T-Mobile says no customer or government information was stolen in the intrusion. Okay. I think T-Mobile dodged a bullet here in a couple ways. Because no offense, if you sync 30,000 source code repositories and you want to tell me that there's no private keys or passwords in them, I don't believe you.
Statistics offer a different opinion.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but it turns out, and I'm kind of jumping, it turns out that they had law enforcement seize the server on which they had stored this source code, and they had not taken a backup of it.
Right.
So let's see. So not only did Lapsus have a public Telegram channel that, had a lot of users, because that's where they were posting their leaked source code and stuff and data, but they also had a private Telegram, or it says used private Telegram channels, plural, that were restricted to the core 7 members of the group, and that Krebs got a week's worth of those private conversations between Lapsus members, and the quote is, as they plotted their final attacks late last month. The messages reveal that each time Lapsus was cut off from a T-Mobile employee's account, either because the employee tried to log on or change their password, they would just find or buy another set of T-Mobile VPN credentials. It showed on March 19th that they had screenshots showing they gained access to Atlas, a powerful internal T-Mobile tool for managing customer accounts, and that after gaining access to Atlas, they it says White proceeded to look up T-Mobile accounts associated with the FBI and Department of Defense. Fortunately, those accounts were listed as requiring additional verification procedures before any changes could be processed.
I have this feature on my account because daughter number 1 came home. She had an old iPhone 8. We upgraded her phone. And so we went to the Apple store, bought the new phone, and they did all the transfer right there. And it got to the point where, she's just saying, this is your phone number? Yes. And this is your address? That's the verification. And then there's a screen that pops up because I have a separate, basically a PIN code that you have to enter if you want to do any transfer or anything. And fortunately, it was all in line. She looked at it, she goes, oh, you're one of those guys. Like, yes, I am. She says, I don't see much of this. You need to enter your secret code here now. So you can do that. You can add that because otherwise, someone can do this SIM swapping and transfer of, it's not private information that you need to be able to
quote verify,
swap phones, verify phones. So anyway, sorry to interrupt.
I wonder if I can do that on my 5G account. Where every time I call T-Mobile, they're very confused by the fact that I do not have a phone number. I do not have a phone.
I got the same thing forever with my ISP. It came with a phone number. I'm like, I don't have a phone number. So they assigned me a 10-digit, which looks like a phone number, but it's not my phone number because that's how their system was all set up.
Oh.
So they would call, and whenever I'd call for support, they say, what's your phone number? And I said, that's not going to help you. You need this number. And so I gave up, and I would just tell them, my phone number is that 10-digit number.
555.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
So, sorry, sidetracking.
Funny. No, that's good. That's good. One of the sort of threads through this article is how much White was clearly after source code and not other things. So it says that the other Lapsus members desperately wanted to SIM swap some wealthy targets for money, and that Amtrak threw a fit, saying, I worked really hard for this. Amtrak was one of the other members. And that White calls the Atlas access trash, aka, the internal tool, and kills the VPN connection, saying he wanted to focus on using their illicit T-Mobile access to steal source code, which the other people didn't really care so much about. And then, but it says, perhaps to mollify his furious teammates, White changed the subject and told them he'd gained access to T-Mobile's Slack and Bitbucket accounts. He said he'd figure out how to upload folders to the virtual machine he had access to at T-Mobile. And roughly 12 hours later, he posted a screenshot in their private chat showing his automated script had downloaded more than 30,000 source code repositories. So
that's a lot.
But it did later. They did later get them. They were on the server that got seized, and then so they tried to get back into T-Mobile and download it again, and their credentials were compromised, and so they did not. At least as of this story, this particular research, they did not seem to get it back. But
if you can just buy new credentials, I mean,
well, yeah, crazy. I just had a couple other things in here. One thing is it says that the vast majority of noteworthy activity documented in these private chats takes place between White and Amtrak. But it doesn't seem that White counted Amtrak or any of his fellow Lapsus members as friends or confidants. On the contrary, White generally behaved horribly toward everyone in the group, and he particularly seemed to enjoy abusing Amtrak, who somehow always came back for more. So there's two more bits of data in this article that I thought were interesting. The first of which is yes, I totally agree with, which is that it's remarkable. They use the word remarkable. I guess I'm I'm hyperbolic. I would say it's crazy how often Lapsus was able to pay a few dollars to buy access to some hacked machine at a company they wanted to break into, and then parlay that into the theft of source code or other sensitive information. So yeah, it's amazing. But the last thing, and this is kind of how Brian Krebs closed the article, is it's remarkable that anyone can access the dark web bot shops like Russian Market and Genesis. And so the way Brian closes this is that like large companies should be paying somebody to monitor these forums for their employee credentials. And he says even buying back their own employee credentials to take the vulnerable systems off the market, or at a minimum, if you can tell whose they are, which maybe you can't until you buy them, you shut them down. So
right,
he ends the article with, because that's probably the simplest and cheapest incident response money can buy. $25 for a set of creds.
Probably true.
That is exposed. That was my second article for the night. So there you go.
All right.
How about something fun?
I have two something funs.
Okay.
I have one something fun because my boy was looking at a website and I passed by the computer in the living room and hey, that's cool. What's that? And he said, have you not seen this before? It's the astronomy picture of the day from NASA.
Yes.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
I'm sure that was a previous something fun.
Yeah. But you can go to apod.nasa.gov and check out an astronomy picture, a new one every day. And so that's one of the things he does to my boy enjoys photography aspect. So he's finding cool websites. He really liked that. So he texted that to me. My second one is a website, macos8.app. If you go to that website, it is effectively an old Mac. We'll call it a Quadra.
They didn't.
In a browser, you can run all the old apps, calculator, the native system. You can run it all in a browser, clearly running JavaScript. JavaScript can do anything. I still don't like it. But it was a fun website to go just kind of see the visual, the old.
Is this WebAssembly?
No, it's JavaScript. If you at the bottom, there's this. You can go look at the source code for it.
Oh, there it is. I was just opening the developer tools.
Yeah, the about screen. So it's mostly JavaScript. I would imagine at some point it could be WebAssembly, and you could build some WebAssembly stuff into it. Maybe make it faster, or be able to do more things like run actual apps. Build an emulator and run an actual app. Anyways, just some fun for the week. Astronomy pictures and old Macs running in a browser.
Pretty crazy.
It's remarkable even.
Remarkable. I think the thing that it doesn't like Java. I'm not like a JavaScript hater. Like Yar.
Like some people
Like some people I know. Like some people I'm talking to on Wednesday nights. But I really dislike.
I don't hate JavaScript.
I really dislike. Well, you're way better at JavaScript.
I despise
You're way You're way better at JavaScript than I am, for sure. But yeah, familiarity breeds contempt. That's what I like to think about that. But
absolutely true.
What was I saying? Oh, the thing that kind of bugs me is just like why would you take a perfectly good OS and then try and build everything into a browser? Oh,
for fun.
but this is pretty cool. Sorry, I'm like poking around with the
Yeah.
you know.
It all functions. It looks and behaves. It's been years since I played with an actual Mac, so I'm sure there might be some UI differences, but it pretty much behaves and looks like the old classic Mac.
Well, I'm moving folders around, and then I'm closing them, and I'm opening them back up, and it stays there. So John Siracusa would love the spatial finder. Funny. Okay. All right. My something fun. What'd I do? Now I have to go back to our notes. Oh, okay. Mine was cool. But yes, of course it's bees. I'm in a bee mood. So this is, and actually my wife sent this to me. This is researchers breed a fungus that kills mites to save bees. So I'm sure if you've listened to this podcast for any period of time.
You're late for you.
Okay, you don't have to like rub my face in the fact that I killed all my bees. Trying to protect them against mites. So this is at the University of Washington, I think. Washington State University, sorry. So this is some researchers that have bred a fungus that basically eats the mites out from the inside, which is awesome. And the cool thing about this, one cool thing about this, is that they said that they've known for years that this fungus was deadly to mites, but the fungus couldn't survive in the warmth of the hive because the hive maintains like a 90 to 95 degree temperature for brood, which is where the mites are. Mites get into the cells that have the larva in it before the bees cap it over, and then they breed in there and blah blah blah. So these researchers did selective breeding to create a strain of this mold-like fungus, Metarhizium, that can eradicate the mites, without other chemicals, and that this is harmless to bees. This reminded me of Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So I'm like bringing it back, but it says here that the two things they still have to do is figure out how to enable beekeepers to introduce the fungus to a colony, and they have to get USDA approval. So not USDA, Environmental Protection Agency. So good luck. We'll see. But there we go. It maybe in the not too distant future, I will have a better mite treatment that is more permanent.
I like our team used directed evolution to develop a strain that survives at the higher temperatures.
Exactly. I mean, directed evolution, selective breeding, genetic manipulation. So sorry,
CRISPR.
That does not seem like what they did. It didn't seem like they did any gene editing. It seems like it was all about. It's been a while since we did Project Hail Mary as something fun. So if you haven't read it yet, you should go read it. I don't feel bad about having a spoiler here. But one of the things they do is they have all the tanks of the microbes, and until they breed the ones that can survive. Right. So anyway, cool stuff.
All right, dude.
All right, my friend.
Have a pleasant rest of your evening.
Thank you very much.
Get some rest.
I will talk to you later.
All right. We'll see you, John.
Bye.
Bye.